Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the third annual Hispanic Farmers and Agricultural Professionals Symposium hosted by mano-Y-ola. My name is Molly Hass, and I work for mano-Y-ola as an agricultural development specialist. Today, I'm going to introduce a project that our company has been working on in partnership with the NRCS for about 6 years now. And following this introduction, I want to leave you with a few of my colleagues who will dive a little bit deeper into the curriculum that we have developed as part of this project. The project I'm speaking of is the Champions in Conservation Learning Network, and it focuses on developing and implementing a competency-based agricultural conservation training curriculum and network for Hispanic and Latino farmers across the nation. In our team's development of this project, we have chosen to adopt distinct philosophies of learning, which include using popular education approaches and self-directed adult learning. We want to emphasize the experiences and knowledge of each participant. The Champions in Conservation project incorporates the input and expertise of 3 different levels of participant. We have the farmers, the professionals, and the youth. By targeting these 3 audiences, we have developed 4 modules of curriculum, which cover the topics of leadership, natural resource conservation, entrepreneurship, and youth in agriculture. Now that I've introduced this project to you, I'm going to leave you with a few of my colleagues who are the authors of the 4 modules, and they're going to give us a quick sample of what it is to experience and learn through the participation in the curriculum. Thank you for your time, and now I'm going to pass it to Mr. José Sanchez, who's going to be guiding us through his module on conservation entitled Passing It Forward. Thank you.
Gracias, Molly, por la introducción y gracias a todos por seguir en
Thank you, Molly, for the introduction, and thank you for everybody that has stayed with us during this symposium. My name is José Sanchez, and I am part of the team of mano-Y-ola, and I'm also part of the Champions in Conservation Learning Network, particularly in the conservation module and natural resources. So to speak a little bit about this module, this module is named The Path Towards Conservation, or Conservation Path. And it has 4 different sections. In the first section, we are seeking for participants to be able to be in contact with nature and to be able to understand all the different elements of nature. Specifically, we want to be able to perceive with our senses the different messages that nature brings towards us. But what is the purpose of this conservation module and this part of the program? So basically, it is to be able to create a change from conventional agriculture to an agriculture that has a purpose of conservation of natural resources. So in which way can we accomplish this? Well, we are looking to really empower farmers so that they are not merely followers of the conservationist agriculture, but that they become leaders in their community, so they can take this message of conservation to all of their neighbors, to all of their farmer neighbors, so they can have this really multiplying effect in agriculture in their country. So the concept that we are talking about, which is passing it forward, it's about passing forward this knowledge of conservation. And with that, we are looking for each farmer to be able to contribute beyond their own farm. We really want that knowledge to really be spread to others. Farmers, which are experienced in this topic of conservation of natural resources, they are the key for this module and for this program, because they are the ones that have the knowledge to be able to transmit this to others for those that are just learning in this field. So we really need to simulate these master farmers in conservation, and we need to be able to then multiply the impact of this. And why do we do this? Because unless we in this farmer community worry about conservation and about our country, nothing's going to happen. So that is very important. It is very important for participants in our program for Champions in Conservation. Really keep that in mind. Currently, we've had classes with many participants participants that have been with us, and we have walked them through the different sections of this module. In the first section of this module, our aim is for participants to be able to understand Mother Nature. And how? Well, by bringing them a training that's very detailed about the different functions that each one of the natural resources has. So soil, water, air, the plants, the animals, and the energy that we find in nature. They all have very important purposes, and sometimes this information is not perceived in the farming community, and we don't discover these. After the participants are able to learn about the basic functions of the natural resources in our planet, then we teach them different techniques to be able, with their 5 senses, to be able to perceive all of these signs that are brought forth by these resources so that we can preserve them, so we can rescue them, so they can be in optimum condition. And that is why we invite you, or invite them to be able to really maximize and sharpen their senses. After this, we give a summary to participants about the evolution of the conservationist movement in the US and in the Caribbean. We expose them to the different benefits of being able to adopt conservation practices by really presenting to them farmers that are putting this into practice and that are doing these concrete strategies. People that have really had this experience with their own farms in implementing conservation practices, and they have seen how their production has increased tremendously. The next section that we present to participants is identifying the concerns. In English, we call it resource concerns. So in this section, we are trying to expose participants so that they can identify, using their 5 senses, which are the difficulties that are present with natural resources in their farm, so they can create a plan. A plan that can really address these issues that are present in their project. Once these resource concerns have been identified, then we lead them step by step in terms of what you have to do to develop a conservation plan. In the same way that the NRCS staff do this, we try to teach our participants which are all the basic steps so they can create a good conservation plan and so that they can follow it up until they accomplish their goals. And finally, we give them a basic training about the technical tools that scientists and experts in conservation utilize to be able to put into practice this plan. And this would be like the conservation practice physical effect and the field guide, electronic technical guide, which is a tool that is free of charge on the website of NRCS, and also another tool that can really help to identify the different characteristics of the soil, which is a web soil survey. So these tools are available free of charge online. And any farmer that gets trained with us has access to all of these tools to really benefit their farm. The important thing with this program, and in particular with this module on conservation, is that all our participants can carry out an agriculture that focuses on change, that is concerned with the environment, and that really serves as a starting point and really can help to nourish their whole community with this important information that can help save our planet. So basically, that is the content of the conservation module. We hope that this information has been of benefit, and we hope that more participants can take advantage of our program of Champions in Conservation Learning Network.
Entiendo que ahora pasamos con nuestro compañero Adrian Parrot, quien va
I think Adrian Parrot is coming now, who's bringing us information about the module that has to do with entrepreneurship. Adrian, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. Adrian Parrot here again. So I was tasked with building the curriculum for the entrepreneurship section of the Champions in Conservation module. And it basically, a lot of the content came from what I encountered doing outreach in the Southeast to Latino farmers in the farmer outreach program we did prior to this. We identified a lot of issues when it came to applying for loans and assistance, in that there were basic components of a business that farmers didn't have ready or prepared when it came time to apply for these. So with that in mind, we created this entrepreneurship curriculum to kind of fill in that gap, to help farmers better be able to access these resources, but also to help them in their own development of their farms as not just a farm, but a business. So we divided the module into two sections. One section, the business arts, the other, the business sciences. The idea being that there's an art to business, conceptualizing it, building it as an idea. What is your value? What is your mission? What is your vision for your business? And this is one important component of an overall business plan. The other section being the business sciences component, which the business sciences component has to do with the important technical details like record keeping, knowing what a balance sheet is, a cash flow statement, as well as an income statement. Having all of these documents prepared or being ready to fill those documents out is another crucial component to being business ready when it comes to applying for programs, as well as, like I said, just developing your own operation as a business. So I look forward to sharing a couple activities from this module, and it's been a lot of fun to build and to work with the young professionals as we've been tweaking and turning it. But we believe it's got a lot of impact and a lot of important information that can connect farmers to the world of business, which is the idea of that module. I guess I shall pass this on to Dr. Martinez.
Thank you, Adrian. So I had the opportunity when I started working with cooperative extension, to learn from a good number of leaders and people that came before me that were able to show me how important it was to understand this concept of leadership. And so what we develop in this module is the opportunity to connect how critical it is to agriculture and outreach and passing forward information that is critical to farmers as well as professionals, this concept of leadership from the perspective of also empirically measure how you can actually have an impact and have an effect on the people that you're working with, not only farmers, but also professionals in agriculture. And so obviously today we're discussing how important it is, agriculture to our heritage, to our Hispanic communities. And so I would have to say that in the years that I have spent doing this work, whether it is for farmers with disability, young folks that are starting a career in agriculture, an understanding of self-directed learning, which Molly mentioned earlier, understanding of leadership theory and application, it is something that is missing greatly in many agencies and in many places where you would think they would apply that on a regular basis. So what we do in this module is to cover some of the subjects that I'm showing you here. This idea of self-discovery, how we can help a leader, a farmer, a professional understand who they are and have this self-discovery, an opportunity for them to understand how they deal with change, how they deal with other people, whether they're introverts, extroverts, and whether they challenge themselves in a way that during different situations, they're going to actually be better at being part of a team or working on their own. We also talk about this intentional desire that adults have to learn. We can label many people many things, and that seems to be something that we sadly do. But anyone, no matter what age they are, no matter what profession they are, what level of education, they are actually learning, intentionally learning every day. And for a person that is trying to help someone do better in agriculture or to get better to programs, if you don't understand what motivates them and how they acquire knowledge and learning, you are at a disadvantage. So again, this idea that when the student is ready, the teacher appear, works out in agriculture and in any subject, in healthcare and in medicine. So that's one area that we focus on. This concept of self-awareness is something that we have seen in research within the concept of emotional intelligence. We think that people that are incredibly intelligent, educated, are the ones that could lead and change the world. And what we have seen is that the ones that have greater empathy, the ones that have influence because they take the learner and that concept of understanding them, have a much greater impact in change, whether it's agriculture again or any other subject. So we focus on that in this module. So we talk about this teacher-student transaction, and the many times that teachers have to be humble and become the learners. So giving the students the opportunity to be self-directed, to dominate the learning, and to make farmers, many of which are experts in their field. They may have not been in a formal setting, but they, because of experience, because they are waking up to do that work every day, would know a lot more than many of the so-called experts with a PhD behind their names. Then we also have to talk about trust. Trust is something that we use. One of the things that we do in the model is that we use equation and different conceptual frameworks to describe it. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, we do peer coaching, which is a practice that we give folks to practice asking the right questions, understanding that empathy and how you build relationships matters to the result of what you do in the field. One of the examples I can talk about, just to summarize some of these things, is that I happened to come after I did a master's in economics to a program that was focusing on adult education. Adults are not children. And if I was to say something to many of the USDA folks that try to promote the programs and services, or the insurance programs, or the new, let's say, coronavirus programs, anything that you do in terms of education, you have to take it from what's in it for the learners, what's in it for them in terms of their experience. Are you giving them messages that have anything to do with their experience before you come and spit out all this knowledge as if you're depositing a check in a bank? that's not what a learner is. That's not what a farmer is, nor that's what a professional is when you're engaging them in change and information. And that sounds incredibly common sense, but it's not practice. It's just not practice. We have seen people trying to work with Hispanic agencies that perhaps do not have language capability, and all they can show is a brochure, or all they can say is go to the website. And even people with a PhD, folks with a doctorate like me, could actually navigate the IRS website and end up empty because I don't understand. Whoever designed it is not coming to me in terms of the experience that I don't have or have to make that relevant to what I need to do. Adults also want to feel responsible what they learn. They're not a bucket or an empty bucket. They have to be able to navigate and drive what they do. Even if it is a computer, you could have someone that is 80 or 90 and they still would like to be able to navigate their own systems to learn something that you're trying to teach them. And many folks in my team are quite experts on a number of different softwares. And for me, many of those things are magical. And yet I need to know it to solve a problem, so I need to learn it. And the motivation needs to be more something from within than from external. You can actually do things external to engage many Hispanics to come and do things. You can say, hey, you're going to be able to save a lot of money. At the end of the day, it has to come from within for them to sustain it. So that's part of the module. I'm going to move into something that summarize a lot of the things that I've been saying. At the corporate world, at a farm, or at the USDA, many people that are leading focus on results. They focus on results. And if it is not working, they change the committee. They add more people to the problem. They have more meetings. And they never go under that red line that you see there to look at what are the people's beliefs and experiences that you're giving them. And a good leader and a good farmer or a good person that understands relationships in terms of being effective, they know that every time you engage with other people, you're giving them an experience. If you don't talk to them, you're giving them an experience. If you talk to them, you are giving them an experience. So again, that what you create is going to have a result that is going to make a project or an implementation of something new work or not. So you have to get to that level of self-awareness, and that's why you have to go under. And a lot of people look at results and that's all they focus on. We have to throw more money at it, or we have to maybe change the party, but we never actually get to emotions and values of what makes people think and behave in a way that is going to change the result in a sustainable way. So we spent some time working on that to see change and to help the young professionals as well as the farmers. There is a personal vision of who we are, and there is a real vision of who we are. And we ask key questions about how people feel they're doing, who they are, who they think they are. We have hope, expectations, and all that kind of stuff. But again, that experience that you give others and you create in others is a good thermometer. It's something that you all need to have real and clear before we move into how we inject in others some trust. And we use this equation to help students understand, the ones that have gone through our internship. And we plan to use this in the methods that we use as well to relate with farmers and professionals. People that are very self-oriented usually have the worst results when it comes to being trusted, because those people are basically focusing on themselves and they're ego-driven. And we know how that end up as a result of this student-teacher transaction. So creating familiarity, reliability and credibility is one of the things that we try to speak about. And then we end talking about peer coaching. A lot of times it takes time to get to know many people that we want to serve in agriculture and understand where they are and understand where they have been. So we can actually speak intelligently about where to start. Just because we have in our head good practices to conserve soil and to be a good farmer, most of what we need to do to start with is understand people's emotions, beliefs, values, and where they are. And that's part of being a good leader and an effective conservationist or an effective extensionist. And that's what this model is about. And I'll stop there. I took a little more time because I was given a little more time. So I'm going to pass it now to my colleagues that develop the Young Professionals curriculum.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sara Espinosa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rene Rivera.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pedro Ayala.
And we're here to present the Young Future Conservationist Professionals module by the Champions in Conservation Learning Network. This module is inspired by the phrase, "I wish I knew then what I know now," which is inspired by students that need a little bit of help discovering their career paths. Now I'll leave you with Rene Rivera to explain the sections of this module.
Thank you, Sara. This module is based in 2 lectures. The first one is on the road to success. Let's see the objective. The first one is to discover the different branches of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The second objective is to become informed about the U.S. Department of Agriculture in the Pathway Internship Program. The third objective is to introduce the USA Job website. The fourth objective is to develop and access a USA Job profile and account. The second lecture is called The Trade to Conservation. Again, let's see the objective. The first one is to fully understand the characteristics and function of the natural resources. The second objective is learn how to recognize the natural resources concerns. The third one is to learn about the most frequently used conservation practice in Puerto Rico. The last objective is to motivate farmers to begin applying conservation practice around you.
Thanks, Rene. After the module, we conducted a survey based on the module delivery and efficiency to the participants who were formerly interns before and after the module delivery. In the first question, we asked how they felt after experiencing the mano-Y-ola internship, in which 100% were satisfied. In the second question of the survey, we asked how much of an impact the internship had on their professional career, in which most of them answered that it did have a meaningful impact. In a third question, we asked if they consider applying for a job after completing this module, in which more than half answered yes. And in our last question, we asked if they feel confident in sharing the information with other colleagues. And we can see from the data below that almost all of them are willing to pass it forward. In our experience with the interns, we can see how this module can impact their lives and their professional careers. And we wish to continue teaching, helping, and developing future professionals love what they do. I appreciate your attention, and we hope to see you soon. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm back, and I thank Indio, Adrian, and Sara, Rene, and Pedro for your presentation, and also the collaboration on this effort. I want to make sure that you'll feel comfortable about the fact that this is a work in progress. We have been able to test this curriculum, and you'll hear about this later. And part of what we want to do is to make sure that what we do as outreach advocates and folks that understand that there are very many learning styles, that we address some of the learning needs that we have seen from the beginning of our outreach, those that have to do with sometimes isolation, or sometimes a specific subject, or sometimes related to the inability of many folks to have access to information that they cannot get from just one agency. So part of this development of a program that uses 4 different subjects is to make sure we're a lot more comprehensive. We plan to test this and continue to use it with other communities and other segments across the U.S. One of the results that I can also share that came out of this is that we were able to also challenge ourselves to produce more work. One of the things that was produced with the help of Indio and many of the other colleagues was a book on conservation practices, which is available in English and Spanish. And we try to use as much popular language to bring science concepts and different type of information to the general public in a way that would be illustrated using art from students as well. So there is plenty in our facilitators guide or information that we're going to be sharing after the conference that you can use to help get the message across in English and Spanish.